Welcome to How You Livin', a transformative podcast featuring best-selling author, inspirational speaker, and minister, Dr. Rick Rigsby. And now, Dr. Rick.
Hello, friends. Thank you so much for joining us. What gets you through difficult moments? What helps you to make it through the storms of life? Oh, we've had some collective storms over the past few years. A global pandemic, political unrest, racial tensions. They've produced severe aftershocks, including mental health issues, labor shortages, economic problems. But what about those individual storms? Those storms that you don't see coming. Those storms that level us. This podcast is for those going through a storm. And I don't want to talk to you today as a podcaster, but as a pastor. You may say, but Rick, I don't share your faith. I'm not even a person of faith. I'm spiritual, but I don't believe in your God. All fair points. I have respect for all faiths, and regardless of your belief, there are some universal principles in Scripture that I believe can help us survive the storm without losing hope. In fact, I have talked to so many who have discovered that the storm not only offered hope, but perspective and clarity. That's also my story. You see, 26 years ago, my family was in the storm of a lifetime. We were devastated. My first wife, Trina, had just passed away following a 6-year battle with breast cancer. For me and our 2 young sons, we were just lost. You see, death pushed out joy and hope and fun and laughter and replaced it with unmitigated loneliness and profound sadness. For me and my boys, we were in the storm of a lifetime. And for some weird reason, I'd always thought I was immune to storms. For you see, up until this point, I'd been successful at everything I'd done. I'd married my college sweetheart. I had 2 beautiful sons. I was an award-winning television reporter. I had fantastic university appointments that followed graduate school, including a role as character coach and chaplain for the Texas A&M football team. I was an ordained minister, a motivational speaker. I was speaking all over the country. I was doing God's work. Yet, I was sideswiped with a storm. I spent so many months angry at God. I can remember balling up my fist at God while holding onto his word with my other hand as tightly as I could. I'd ask questions like, why am I going through this? How could you be doing this to us? I wanted answers. I demanded an explanation. I would eventually come to the realization that with every storm, there's got to be a silver lining. Allow me to talk to you today as Pastor Rick, a spiritual guide of sorts, a broken man who has learned a few things about storms. Let's talk natural terms for a moment. Storm winds help remove old and weak vegetation. We know that. That's the only way you can make room for new growth. The rains wash pollutants out of the air. The winds cleanse and purify the atmosphere. Thunderstorms offer water to vegetation, lakes, reservoirs. Without storms, continents become dry. Fish would die, and crops would fail. Storms help the earth maintain its electrical balance. Lightning strikes liberate nitrates that fertilize soil. Science teaches us that without thunderstorms and lightning, the electrical balance of the Earth's atmosphere would disappear in minutes. And as crazy as this may sound, storms are essential for growth and balance, not just in nature, but in our human existence as well. There are all types of storms: financial, emotional, relational, physical, just to name a few. The wake of the storm leaves us shipwrecked, often feeling abandoned and bewildered as we struggle to make sense of what's happening. And while I'd wish a storm on no one, storms are inevitable. Storms don't discriminate. They're not age sensitive. They're not gender specific. They strike regardless of economic level or educational status. In the Bible, King David went through a storm. Yes, it was self-inflicted, but nonetheless a storm. David's lamentations are recorded in the Psalms, a book not written by community, but rather from the pen of a man who literally went from obscurity to popularity. From the fields of his father Jesse, David rises to the pinnacle of God in the holy city, and suddenly he finds himself in the eye of a storm as a result of an affair with a woman whose husband he had murdered. He's facing a spiritual crisis. His throne is in jeopardy. His life is falling apart. Have you ever asked yourself, God, how in the world did I get here? One day, David's a powerful king. The next day, he's being ran out of town, dethroned, detached, disassociated from his vocation, abdicated from his throne. Amazingly, David found hope in the middle of the storm, and we can regain perspective from lessons that he taught us. I want you to listen to a portion of David's words found in Psalm 63. O God, you are my God. Early will I seek you. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh longs for you in a dry and thirsty land where there is no water. Pay attention to verse 2. So I've looked for you in the sanctuary to see your power and your glory. You know what's interesting? What's interesting is David, first of all, commands his will to seek God with intensity, with passion, and with totality. I will seek you, I will thirst for you, I will long for you. But listen to the next verse. I've looked for you in the sanctuary. David is in the wilderness. There are no buildings around. There is no tabernacle where David is. There's no temple. There's no mosque. There's no church. There's not a sanctuary in sight. So why does he say, I look for you in the sanctuary? David is referring to his memories of when God came through in the past, memories of how God had helped him before, memories of better days. Here's the principle. You can program your mind to dwell on input of your choice. In a storm, guess what our input tends to be? Our default tends to be negative, usually a series of unanswered questions. Why is this happening? What did I do to deserve this? Where are you, God? If you're listening and going through a storm, I want you to do this right now. I want you to write down a previous storm that you went through. Remember to underscore the fact that you survived. And then I want you to spend this day reflecting on that storm, very specifically, the things that you learned, how the storm made you better, how the storm made you stronger. I want you to think about those thoughts this day. This is what David is talking about. And I've done this very same strategy as well. I can remember growing up, all those times going to church, all those times I hated going to church. But decades later, I have some sanctuary moments. Sanctuary moments. That's what David is talking about. I've looked for you in the sanctuary. Those precious sanctuary moments that have produced such powerful memories. These memories have helped me to reset my priorities, to encourage my growth, to renew my faith. Let me share with you two most profound sanctuary memories that I have, and they both involve my father. I'm about 10 years old. The scene is a church on a Sunday afternoon. In the Black Baptist tradition, we would not only have morning service, but many times we would have what we called 3 o'clock service. And the service lasted until about 5 or 5:30, and I'm asleep on the back row. And I wake up to discover an empty church, except for the pastor, a piano player, and my dad standing at the altar. My dad would never stand at the altar. Now, most of the people had already gone to the overflow to enjoy refreshments, but my dad is standing at the altar. I wake up, I remain quiet, I stay in the back row, and I can't believe what I'm seeing. The pastor is singing a song. Can't tell you for sure. It might have been Amazing Grace. The piano player is playing quietly, and I'm watching my father. Now, listen to me very carefully. My father was a proud World War II veteran, very stoic, rarely displayed emotion. So imagine my surprise as I viewed this scene. The man softly played this song. The pastor gently sang the words, barely beyond a whisper, and my dad stood at the altar, visibly moved. Friends, I got to tell you something. That moment over 50 years ago has given me such strength to lean on over the years for a number of reasons, too personal to mention here. But I want to say this. That sanctuary moment of my father, visibly moved by the presence of God, has so encouraged me. Oftentimes, I'll think of that image right in the middle of a storm. Here's the second sanctuary moment that created a sanctuary memory that stays with me to this day. This one occurred 26 years ago. Me and my boys are standing in front of Trina's casket. And I look at my dad and I say, Dad, I've lost hope. And my father replied, you can't lose something God gave you, son. You haven't lost hope. You've lost perspective. Now, son, just stand. Let me offer a couple of takeaways, friends. Number one, my dad was teaching me some lessons for a lifetime. Here's the first. Son, don't make a permanent decision over a temporary circumstance. Regardless of the severity of the storm you're going through right now, I want y'all to remember this. Storms are temporary. Storms have a beginning point and storms have an ending point. As we used to say in that Black Baptist church, storms don't last always. I get such hope from that. Second takeaway, I can have hope if I choose to have hope. I want to say that again, friends. You can have hope in the midst of the storm if you make a choice to have hope. Hope is within you. I have come to the conclusion through many storms in life that hope never leaves us. Hope is part of our DNA. Hope is planted in every one of our hearts. In every one of our hearts. It's a belief that no matter how bad the storm, there's going to be a better day. There's an expectation that we're going to survive, that we will see a better day. What we need to do is activate that hope. Literally move from a default that says, why am I going through this? To, I wonder if I'll survive. And I wonder if I'll see a better day. And I'm going to act on that question. And I'm going to start thinking more positively. That small adjustment opens up the door to a greater expectation for a better day. Number three, if I lost perspective, remember my father's words, son, you haven't lost hope, you've lost perspective. If I've lost perspective, then I ought to be able to regain perspective. So the question becomes, what can I learn from this experience? What can I learn that can make me better, tougher, that can make me stronger? In my particular case, what can I learn about my relationship with God? And what can I learn about me? You know what I learned? I learned that God is all powerful. I learned that I am far more resilient than I ever imagined. I learned that circumstances don't determine my joy and peace unless I choose for them to. The biggest lesson that I learned personally, I need storms in life. It's the storms in life that help me to see Jesus. It's the storm that helps me see the Savior. Here's the principle. A storm is the only thing I know that can strengthen our faith, renew our hope, and revive our spirit. I can't tell you how many divorced people that I've encountered who have said, I found myself in the process of divorce. I discovered a person that I never knew existed. And just like a natural storm is needed to feed and to cleanse and to blow out dead debris, personal storms can make us so much stronger, more resilient, more focused, more purpose-driven. Yeah, but Rick, what about all the pain? I just want relief. Friend, I get it. I completely understand it. Let me encourage you to just glance at a brilliant book that really helped me in the midst of the storm. The book is titled Leadership Pain, The Classroom for Growth. It's by Dr. Samuel Chand, C-H-A-N-D. Listen to this quote. Growth equals change. Change equals loss. Loss equals pain. So inevitably, growth equals pain. Remember this, friends. Devastation of the storm is horrific, but we need storms in our lives. We need storms to go deeper, to reset our priorities, to introduce us to new opportunities, to prepare us for new adventures. No storms, no growth. I leave you with this thought. Without the storms in my life, I would have missed great opportunities. You see, my purpose was never to be a career news reporter or a career college professor or football coach. Those were jobs I was privileged to have. My purpose in life, I was born, I believe, to encourage people, to offer everyone I meet a word of hope. And that purpose was discovered in the midst of a storm that I am very grateful for. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Until we meet again, this is Dr. Rick, asking the most important question I can ask. How you living?
Are you ready to make an impact in your world right now? Do you want to stop existing and start living your best life right now? Dr. Rick wants to give you the first chapter of his best-selling book, Lessons from a Third Grade Dropout, absolutely free. Just go to www.rickrigsby.com/free gift to get the print or audiobook right now.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.